Creating a calm, organized home is hard enough, but doing it in a rental home where you can't make many changes feels impossible. In this video, I'm sharing 7 renter-friendly storage ideas. No drilling, no permanent changes that have genuinely transformed how my home functions. And the best part, most of these take less than 5 minutes to set up. So let's begin. Let's start with something that quietly frustrated me for the longest time: bed sheets. No matter how neatly I folded them, the stack never stayed that way for long. Within a few days, the pile would shift, a few sheets would slide off, and I'd end up refolding everything again. It felt like one of those small chores that kept repeating itself. And then I discovered these one-sided open hangers, and it completely changed how I store bed sheets. The idea is actually very simple. Instead of folding and stacking your sheets on a shelf, you just drape the bed sheet over the hanger like this and hang it in your wardrobe. That's it. No complicated folding, no heavy stacks, and definitely no refolding the same pile 2 days later. Just look at how clean and accessible this looks. I can see every bedsheet I own at a glance. When I need one, I simply pull it out and I'm done. No digging through a pile and no unfolding 3 sheets just to find the one I want. And this is what I mean when I say a good organizing system should think for you. Once it's set up, the process becomes automatic. There is no extra effort involved in keeping things tidy. Another reason I prefer these one-sided hangers over traditional closed hangers is that bed sheets can be quite bulky. The open side makes them much easier to slide on and off, which means you're actually more likely to put them back properly after using them. And if you have deep wardrobe shelves, where bed sheets usually disappear into the back, this method can be a real game changer. Everything stays visible, accessible, and surprisingly easy to maintain. Now let's talk about a problem I think most of us face: the deep wardrobe with no shelves. And because most of us are living in rentals, adding permanent shelves usually isn't an option. Here I'm using IKEA foldable shoe rack to store all my pillow covers. I have placed it just below my bedsheet section. What I like about this is how simple it is. It is completely freestanding. You just unfold it and place it inside the wardrobe. I also had a little bit of extra space, so I added my mattress protectors on top. And right next to the shelf insert, I have placed a basket with extra dohars and quilts. And honestly, this whole section feels more functional now. Now, while we are on the topic of deep shelves, let me show you another spot where shelf inserts made a huge difference. This shelf above my wardrobe is where I keep my jewelry, little knickknacks, and random small items. Before organizing it, everything would slowly get mixed together, and items at the back would be forgotten. So I added these IKEA shelf inserts, and instantly one deep shelf turned into 2 usable levels. And this is why I love shelf inserts. They are incredibly versatile. You can use them in wardrobes, kitchens, cabinets, pretty much anywhere you have unused vertical space. I have actually talked about these in my kitchen countertop organization video as well. They are one of my favorite organizing tools. Now look at the difference. I can see everything at a glance, nothing is hidden, nothing gets forgotten at the back. For renters, this is honestly one of the best organizing investments you can make, because when you move, it simply comes with you. No drilling, no damage, and no marks left behind. Just smarter use of the space you already have. Deep wardrobes don't have to be a black hole. Sometimes they just need a little structure. Now let's talk about something that used to quietly stress me out: kids' books and school paperwork. When books and worksheets are stacked flat on a shelf, two things usually happen. First, you can never find what you need without pulling out the entire pile, and second, the shelf just starts to feel heavy, visually cluttered. Even when everything is technically tidy, those horizontal stacks somehow still look messy. The solution turned out to be surprisingly simple: magazine files. You can find these almost anywhere, and they are usually very affordable. And instead of stacking everything horizontally, I store them vertically inside the files. Inside each magazine file, I also add labeled folders so everything stays sorted. That way, my kids can easily find what they need, and just as importantly, they can put things back on their own. And now look at the shelf. Everything is visible and accessible, and the space actually feels calm and intentional. Whenever I feel stuck while organizing, I ask myself one simple question: can this go vertical? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Vertical storage is honestly one of the most underrated tricks for rental homes, or for any homes for that matter. And the best part about this system is that it is so simple. It doesn't really need me to manage it, which, when it comes to kids' stuff, is always a win. Now, this next idea is honestly one of my absolute favorites, and I have a feeling that once you see it, you might want to try it immediately. So, if you have open shelves in your living room or even in your kitchen, you probably know the struggle. Everything is on display: the good, the useful, and also the things that aren't exactly pretty to look at. As renters, we usually can't install cabinet doors to hide all of that, but there's a simple trick that works beautifully. All you need is a tension rod and a small café curtain. You just extend the rod to fit the width of your shelf, press it into place. No screws, no drilling, no damage to the walls. And then you hang a small curtain to it. I chose a light linen fabric because it keeps the space feeling airy and soft rather than heavy, and just like that, you get instant hidden storage. Everything behind the curtain is still fully accessible, but visually the room immediately feels calmer and more put together. I genuinely think this is one of the most elegant renter-friendly solutions. It hides visual clutter, adds a bit of texture to the room, and it's incredibly inexpensive to set up. I have actually used the same idea on the other side of the shelf as well, but there I used a slightly longer tension rods with 2 curtains. All our puzzles and board games live behind there now. They are easy to reach when we need them, but nicely tucked away the rest of the time. And here's something about visual clutter that we don't talk about enough. When your eyes are constantly scanning shelves full of objects, your brain is quietly processing all of that information, even if you don't consciously notice it. So, covering things up isn't really about hiding a mess. Sometimes it's simply about giving your mind one less thing to process and creating a space that feels a little calmer to live in. If your kitchen drawer looks anything like this, where you have to hold up a lid just to pull out a pot, and everything keeps shifting around, you're definitely not alone. It's one of the most common frustrations in a small kitchen. This drawer holds the pots and pans I use almost every day, and I really wanted to make it a little easier to manage. And since we are already talking about tension rods, I thought I'd show you another clever way to use them. All you need is a simple tension rod, or even 2, placed across the drawer like this, and instantly you've created sections. I like to think of this as drawer zoning. Now the lids stay neatly in one place and the pots and pans are fully accessible. So when I'm cooking and I need something, I'm not digging through the drawer anymore. My hand goes exactly where it needs to go. It's a tiny change, but it has genuinely made my time in the kitchen feel calmer and more efficient. And the best part, it takes less than 2 minutes to set it up. If you have an Indian kitchen, you probably know this sound. Every time you close a cabinet door, the steel utensils inside rattle and clang, and somehow it always feels extra loud first thing in the morning when the house is still quiet. This tiny fix made a surprisingly big difference for me. These are simple cork pads and they take less than 2 minutes to set it up. I simply use a little blue tack to stick the cork pads on the inside edge of the cabinet doors. It's quick, renter-friendly, and easy to remove later if needed. I also sometimes use bumper pads which work really well for absorbing sound too. They are just as easy to stick on and give a soft close effect. Now listen to the difference. It's such a small change, but the impact on your everyday experience is real. And finally, the last hack. Quick, simple, but incredibly important if you are a renter. Have you ever noticed those marks on the wall behind your doors? Every time the door swings open, the handle hits the wall, and over time that turns into dents. The fix just takes about 30 seconds. Just place a small clear bumper pad right where the handle would hit the wall. And that's it. No more dents, no more damage. A tiny fix now that protects both your walls and your deposit later. You don't need 100 organizing hacks. Most homes work beautifully with just a few good systems that quietly support you every day. None of these 7 ideas are complicated and they are not expensive either, but together they have genuinely made my home feel lighter to live in. And when your home runs just a little more smoothly, you have more energy for the things that actually matter: your family, yourself, and those quiet moments that make a house feel like home. If one of these ideas stood out to you, I'd love to know in the comments which one you're excited to try. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.